And we are back with another episode of From the Rafters. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, August 24th. We have plenty to talk about, although it's slightly different. And we're just going to jump right into it. For the whole offseason, Sam, we've been talking about Kevin Durant, and I'm sure you've loved it. I'm sure you've thoroughly enjoyed the Kevin Durant rumors, Celtics, non-Celtics, everything to do with Kevin Durant. But it is all over. Kevin Durant is returning to the Brooklyn Nets. He met with Marks, Nash, Josiah, everybody. They said, all right, we're bringing you back. And he was like, all right. And I saw tweets, something along the lines of like, it's reminiscent when Kobe almost left the Lakers in 07, blah, blah, blah. Like all this rumors just to him, excuse me, for them to go back with the team. And I know you're glad the rumors are over for multiple reasons. So I'll let you talk about those quick.
Yeah, man, good on the Nets. Start with that because I am so sick and tired of I mean, listen, if you listen to the show, you know what I'm going to say, but I'm sick and tired of players just getting whatever they want, right? In this situation, from the start, I never understood how Kevin Durant had any kind of leverage. The guy is just recently signed an extension.
Yeah.
He has 4 more years left on his deal. The team just got swept in the first round of the playoffs. He didn't play well. What kind of leverage does he have? Why, if I'm the owner of the Nets, which this inevitably did happen, I'm telling him to screw. And that's what happened. They said, okay, we'll listen to offers for you. We didn't get what we wanted, whether it was outrageous or not. It should be outrageous. It's Kevin Durant. And good for them. As much as like from a Celtics standpoint, you really don't want Kevin Durant in the division and the conference, whatever. Good for the Nets. This needs to start happening more often in the league. You cannot have teams continue to, bend over backwards for these star players that just decide, hey, for whatever reason, I've had enough. Like Kevin Durant last month, right? It's been a month since he's requested a trade. News comes out. He met with the Nets again. He said, it's either me or Steve Nash and Sean Marks. Now, Steve Nash, the coach that you picked, and Sean Marks, the general manager that listened to everything you said, traded for James Harden, gutted the team, which inevitably really hurt them. They struggled because they didn't have depth. They missed LeVert, missed Allen, missed Dinwiddie, who was injured when, his time ended with the Nets. But regardless, he was still a key piece to their success before those guys got there. It is remarkable that with all of that, he still tried to blame the organization, the people involved. And now he's coming back. And I'm glad you didn't really preface it the way I've seen other people preface it. Like Durant decided to stay. Like, no, it's not his decision. They own his contract. They can do whatever they want with it. If they want to trade him to Sacramento, then they can trade him to Sacramento. Weep. If he wanted to retire, let him retire. I'm glad he's going to play. He's an exceptional talent, great player, probably my favorite player that's never played for the Celtics. And I would have been fine with him retiring. You can't let players continue to run the league. Inmates running the asylum, it's insane. So good on the Nets.
I think this was slightly different than some of the other trade requests we've seen in recent years. And I understand the idea of, don't let the player run the organization, but you look at recent ones that come to mind with Kawhi and Anthony Davis, pushing their way out of a place. Those were different because they had 1 year left, right? They had leverage, excuse me, because they could just up and leave. And so if anything, they kind of helped their organizations. They kind of helped AD helped the Pelicans by saying, I'm leaving, trade me now, because if he didn't, he would have just joined whatever team he wanted at the end of the season and they would have gotten nothing and they'd be screwed right now. And I would say something similar for the Spurs, but the return they got for him was meh. In the grand scheme of things, it wasn't exactly what you probably want from an organization, but they stayed competitive and now they're fine. Now they'll rebuild and they'll get maybe Wembanyama, blah, blah, blah. But the Kevin Durant thing, he's got and even the Donovan Mitchell thing, I think, is different than the Nets one, because while Donovan Mitchell does have years left on his contract, the team they had wasn't going to be able to compete for a championship. Like that Jazz team had no shot at winning a title with how much competition was in the West. And so it's probably in the best interest of the Jazz anyways to just gut the team and try to get a high draft pick. So that's different in my opinion. This Kevin Durant thing, the Nets are a championship caliber roster, at least in my opinion. I'm sure you share the same belief. If they all play at their best, and this is a big if they play all the games and if there's no drama, if they can figure things out, that's a championship roster. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons, and the depth pieces they have. They added TJ Warren on a minimum deal, brought back Patty Mills, traded for Royce O'Neal, who's a quality rotational player, Seth Curry, Joe Harris, Nick Claxton. They get a backup center, and they're going to be in the upper echelon of teams in the East. Are they good enough to beat the Bucks, Celtics, Sixers? I don't know.
Probably the Sixers.
I'd take the Bucks and Celtics over them.
Yep.
I'd put them on par with the Sixers, but anything can happen in a 7-game series. So from the Nets perspective, this is why I think it's different than like the Jazz and the other two trade things I mentioned. Trading Kevin Durant hurts your organization. In every other aspect or every other example I've given, it helps the organization in the long run. This hurts them. And so the Nets were like, no, we're not doing that unless we get something ridiculous back. And in the end, I'm not going to like say, oh, screw Kevin Durant. He wanted out. So he said, I want out. And now that they said no, he's like, all right, fine, I'll play. It's like, it is what it is. Like, I don't dislike Kevin Durant any more or less because of this. Sure, it's drama. Sure, it's, if anything, thanks. Free content. Thanks for giving us something to talk about for a month, right? Like, it is what it is. I'm sure I don't think he's going to like mope and moan and, pout all throughout the next 4 years. I think he'll try. I think the Nets will attempt to win a championship, but I think it gets interesting again. This has nothing to do with the Celtics. It gets interesting again next offseason when Kyrie Irving can leave. Right. And at that point, and this isn't me saying like, Kevin Durant is going to request a trade again. But if I'm the Nets and Kyrie Irving says I'm out, goes to Lakers, which I mean was kind of the rumor this offseason anyways, and they'll have the cap space to sign him. If I'm the Nets at that point, I might look into trading Kevin Durant again, because then in my opinion, it's a similar situation of the Jazz where is KD, Ben Simmons in that group good enough to contend in the East? And if not, maybe you just got it and you plan for the future. But regardless, for this upcoming season, I think KD, Kyrie, the roster the Nets have is good enough to compete in the East, and that's what matters. And thanks for the content, Kevin, I guess is all I can say. But yeah, I'm glad it's over and we can talk about other Celtic stuff now, even though we've spent the first almost 10 minutes of this podcast talking about KD anyways.
Yeah, I mean, the Nets are definitely going to be a competitive team. How great will they be? I mean, you haven't seen the group play together yet. You don't know. You don't know what Simmons is going to do. Is he going to play? Is Kyrie going to be a pain in the ass again? Is Durant going to be engaged? There's a lot of questions. How are guys going to be coming off injuries? At the end of the day, they're probably the third best team in the East to start the season, right? And that's because of recency bias. They got swept in the first round. The Celtics have picked up guys. Milwaukee's a juggernaut. So you have to put them there. I'm not sold. I guess they have Harden, but I'm still not really that sold on Philly, especially after.
So where would you rank? What would you rank the East? I'm not
Celtics,
Bucks,
for like Brooklyn, Philly, Miami. Miami always gets slighted, but I still don't think that team's that great. I mean, they play well together. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
but in terms of like who's real scary at the beginning of the season, they're fifth, and then after that, I don't care. Toronto 6 probably.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Maybe Atlanta's 6.
No, I'd take Toronto over Atlanta still.
It's close.
In my opinion. That's close, though. It gets there. I think Chicago could be up there, too, if they get their guys back to Lonzo.
Yeah. Well, he's the key. We talked about that, I believe, last time with Keith, right? Yeah. His injury and how screwy that was. Another aspect of Brooklyn that I mentioned is Simmons. Going back to player empowerment, it's criminal that he's getting any money from Philadelphia. It truly is. It's criminal that guy threw a fit. He said, hey, you guys are all mean to me after I played bad, even though I deserved it. You guys are mean, and I'm not going to play for this team anymore, even though I have plenty of time. Like that. So you want to talk about a situation similar to Durant? It was Simmons. And he got away with being a baby.
Well,
not only did he get away with it, but he got paid. You serious? How in the world is that allowed?
I don't know enough about the ins and out of what happened. I know what we supposedly know. I don't really care.
If you don't write articles, do you get paid?
No.
If I don't do work, if I don't go to work, if I don't do traffic, if I don't write articles, do I get paid? No. So why the hell is Simmons getting paid?
I'm not advocating. I'm not defending. I'm explaining what I know or may not know because, like I said, I don't really know anything about it. I believe he sued because they withheld things because of like something along the lines of he did what they required, but not in the exact thing what they were requiring of him. So they said, no, we're not paying you. You didn't do it exactly this way. Like he met with his own therapist instead of the team's therapist or something stupid like that. Regardless, I think Philly got better trading him for James Harden.
Well, they did, but still, he shouldn't be getting paid. He didn't work.
I don't really care. $20 million. Is that what he got? 20 mil? Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Chump change. I mean, realistically speaking, who cares for the Sixers? Whatever. It is what it is.
It's the principle.
But now that the KD saga is over, Brad Stevens did talk about Jaylen Brown a little bit in a recent appearance, recent radio appearance. I'm gonna go find the quotes because Chris Forsberg tweeted them all out.
I believe it was the Jimmy Fund telethon.
Yes, the Jimmy Fund telethon with I forget what the show was called. Yes, Nesson or WEI Nesson. He was on a local radio show. The point is, and Brad saying he's talked to Jaylen Brown. He's had conversations with Jaylen Brown, saying transparent conversations throughout. I'm finding the exact quote right now, but he has spoken with Jaylen throughout these trade talks, and they've had like an understanding to some degree. The quote is, Jaylen's been through all this, this being trade rumors from the standpoint of listening, and the noise has been around him for a long time. I think one of those things you have to be able to do is ignore the noise and know what's important. Also be able to reach out and have candid and transparent communications with people involved. We've had those and been very open from the get-go as all this has been going on for any of our guys. I sat down with Jaylen last week in LA. He looked great, and he will be back to Boston soon. And also went on to say, you've heard a lot of talk, but none of it has come from me. He said, we're excited to move forward with our team, and that's really been our focus for a while. He also said, we've been liked our team since the Brogdon trade. You say it's been busy and there's been a lot of talk, but it hasn't been for me. Hopefully it gave everybody something to talk about. It's been pretty quiet in our front for a while. So if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, I don't know what it is. You don't have to believe Brad Stevens, but you're getting it from the horse's mouth. Like, come on. It tells you right there.
It never made any sense. From the beginning, it didn't make sense, and I don't think I ever stood in the corner of the trade. I think I was always against it. The only way it made sense to me was if you knew he wanted out. That was it. That was the only way.
Mm-hmm.
And from what Brad says, that doesn't seem like it's the case, at least not right now. So why would you do that? You just upgraded the weak spots on your team that just kicked away a finals win, right? They were in control of the series and they let it slip away on their own account, on their own fault. And you got better bench depth. You brought in Brogdon. You brought in Gallinari. You didn't have any depth in the finals. You struggled when guys came out of the game. You struggled if Tatum didn't give you, what he was giving you earlier in the playoffs. You struggled if Brown had an off game. You didn't have any. Pritchard didn't show up. Pritchard was big in the Milwaukee series. In the Miami series at times, he was really good. Grant Williams didn't show up. Mm-hmm. You need guys to be reliable. And they said, okay, come here. We'll bring these guys in for free. And why would you think they need to go get Kevin Durant? It never made sense. And people acting like they didn't do anything this offseason, who are just the people that pay attention to the Patriots, who aren't going to be paying attention much because they're going to be horrible this year, are the ones saying that. I don't think any intelligent person was clamoring for Durant. I really don't.
No, yeah. I
was
always
things,
I was always of the mindset of Jaylen's leaving, you do it. And I was never gonna be one of those people to like bitch and moan if they did do it, right? Like I would complain. I'd be like, I don't think
you get over
that. But yeah, I mean, you have Kevin Durant at that point. But like you, I think they're better off keeping what they have, running it back. And if anything, I think I've said this multiple times. I know definitely on here, and I've said it in other places too. I don't think star power means as much in today's NBA. I think it's all about depth. I think you need one or two stars, and I think you need a deep team past that because, as you've seen plenty of times in the past, KD, Kyrie, AD, and LeBron last year.
Look at the Nets. They gutted the team for Harden, and they struggled. They never made it past the second round, underachieved. That team was supposed to be a juggernaut, win a title. Haven't done it yet.
Lakers last year gutted the team for Westbrook. Nice. Love that. Good work. But anyways, it sounds like Jaylen Brown and the Celtics are all good for now. And then also Brad was asked about extension offer in October, and Brad said he's a huge core piece of what we're doing and has been for 6 years now. We're excited to hopefully put our best foot forward to have him here for a long time. That screams to me we're going to give him a max extension offer in October. Right? Like, I don't know what else that could mean.
Why would you not?
Exactly. He's a max
It
player.
doesn't really count against your cap. He's bird rights. Spend away. Don't care. Spend.
Give him everything. Him and Tatum needs to be on max contracts for the rest of their careers in Boston. Everybody else past that, we can debate. But those two max deals, rest of the roster can be figured out from there. And excuse me, I have the hiccups. Hopefully Jaylen takes it. I mean, I don't think he'll take the max offer sheet in October because he'll be able to make more money if he accepts it next year, just because the cap increases every year, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's just smart from his perspective. But I think you'll see Celtics offer it. Jaylen will be like, no, I'll wait till next year. And then you're going to see all these news rumors. Oh, Jaylen's leaving. Stop. I'm going to tell you this right now, not you say I'm like, well, yes, you, but our listeners as well. Jaylen is not going to take a max contract extension offer this October. Not because he doesn't want to be with the Celtics, but because he can make more money next offseason. Like that, it would make no sense for him to take it this offseason when he can make a lot more money next year with the, I think he'll end up re-signing with the Celtics. Yes. Is there a chance he moves on? Sure. But don't take him saying no to an extension where he'd make less money as he doesn't want to be in Boston.
The NBA needs to do something to make it so players get rewarded for signing that extension, because you're absolutely right. No player is signing that extension. It just doesn't happen.
It's just
except for Durant, who decided he wanted to leave. But no guy does that. And they don't want to piss away a bunch of money, right? Why does the NBA have that as an option when nobody's realistically doing that? They need to make that a more valuable option to players to increase loyalty.
Yeah.
In quotes, right? I mean, who knows? I'm sure if he really wanted to be here, he'd be here. But
well, I think loyalty's
they should be. I think it is to an extent too. I think they need to do something to encourage that. I don't know what it would be. Maybe you can adjust. You know, you can negotiate to where the number's fluid. It's the max, whatever year that is.
Maybe it goes an extra year. Maybe you get an extra year out of it if you sign it, something like that. More room for incentives. But I agree. But I do think loyalty is coming back.
Examples
nowadays.
Curry.
Me give you examples. Curry. Yeah. Giannis. Yeah. Luka.
Giannis, who said he's on a rookie extension. It's nothing.
Sure.
Giannis, who said he might go play for Chicago, or he wouldn't rule it out, which was weird to me.
I think that was.
I don't know what the context of the question was. Don't get me wrong.
I'm pretty sure
he was so
doing
strange. Of all the teams, Chicago.
I'm pretty sure he was doing a promotion for Jordan Brand, which is who he signed with.
Okay, all right. Well, still,
I'm pretty sure
that would piss me off if I was a Bucks fan.
Dame.
Yep.
Dame is there.
I'm
looking up top salaries, league leaders. Excuse me. But my point is the old guard, I feel like, is Beal. Yep, sure. I feel like the old guard in the NBA nowadays, like I'm talking, Kawhi, LeBron, all these people like go everywhere, blah, blah, blah. And I don't really care if you bounce teams. I've never, I know you care more about me. But you look at the young guard nowadays, and I understand they're all on rookie deals, but it seems like they're like committed to winning where they are. Like, look at everything John Morant says. Like, he wants to win in Memphis. Like, he clearly loves Memphis, clearly loves what they're doing. And I know you said, turn down my Luka example, but I feel like he's very happy in Dallas. He's like cool, chilling.
Well, I mean, Cuban wants him there for life.
Exactly.
So he would rather lose his wife than Luka. But he's on a rookie extension. If you think he's staying for guaranteed, which I tend to agree with you. I especially with foreign players, they tend to be more loyal. It seems, just seems that way to me.
Cat's still there.
Yeah, like you could say, oh, Tatum's on this same extension. I mean, People still
He
think
is.
he's going to go play on the Lakers, which I kind of disagree with that. I don't see that happening. But oh man, I lost what I was going to say.
Brutal. I just don't
had
think we're
something.
seeing as many super teams being formed nowadays.
I got it. I think it should be frowned upon for you to leave a team and play the same role or that you were playing on the team you left, if that makes sense. So
What do you mean?
if you are a budding star, right, and the team you're on is not giving you enough of a role, and you want a bigger role and you go somewhere else, fine. If you are a top tier player, I don't think you should leave whatever team it is you're on, unless you're starting to become in the decline. You're going to have to step into a smaller role, that kind of thing.
Give me examples.
So Iguodala, he goes to play in Golden State,
Takes
less of a star role.
That acceptable?
Harrison Barnes leaves the Warriors to try and be more of a.
Are you saying this is
man.
acceptable? These are like acceptable.
Yeah.
examples?
These are
okay.
Because these guys are looking for a different role. They're not like they're not just like, hey, I'm Durant, I'm the best player on the team. I'm gonna go join the Warriors and be the best player on that team. Or hey, I'm LeBron and the Celtics just bullied me for 3 years. I'm gonna go play in Miami. Like I don't know. That's all weak to me. But like if you're oh man, let me try and think of a non-biased example. I just have reference in my head. I think of like kind of Pierce and Garnett when they waive like the no trade clause, they go play in Brooklyn. They are not the star players. They're aging. They are going to be more role players, that kind of thing. If oh man, Jesus. there are examples of it.
I understand what you're saying. I think we just have different opinions. I don't really care. I think you can go do whatever you want. It's not a big deal to me.
You could do whatever you want. I just think that's the morally correct way to do it.
Well, it's tough to like say stay there, figure it out there. Like I'll use LeBron as an example, even though I know you hate him. I mean, what the hell was that Cleveland team doing for him? Nothing. Nothing. I would leave if I was him too. They were awful. I saw a stat. It was the Grizzlies won more games with without Ja Morant this year than the Cleveland Cavaliers won without LeBron James throughout his entire first tenure there. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane stat. Like in this season, I think the Grizzlies were something like 20-5 without Ja Morant, and the number for like without LeBron in those 8 years was 14-39. Like how? Like how are you going to put that poor of a team around your star player and expect him to stay? That's what I'm saying. That's my counter argument, devil's advocate, whatever you want to call it. Like if you're not putting a star team around him, sorry, sucks. He has every right to leave. Like he wants to win. I don't blame him. Like, and I admire players like Dame for saying, you know what, no, we'll figure it out here. We'll do it no matter how many times the Blazers fail to put a defensive-minded team around him that he needs. But I also understand I want to win. I'm going to go do it here because you clearly can't help me enough to do it. And then LeBron came back too. It's not like he like ditched him for every.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, wait till you do all the hard stuff, and I'll come back." But in to your point, I think the Durant thing was worse.
Yes,
I mean, that was worse.
Sure,
way worse.
Yeah. Both of them.
You can't compare them.
Both of them were worse. Brooklyn and OKC.
Yeah, I mean, just not great.
And
not,
again,
not what
I
you
don't
want to see.
Again, I'll reiterate. I don't care. Whatever Durant can do, whatever he wants. If he wants to go join another team, I don't. It doesn't. Sure, I don't care. But I agree with the point of, one is worse.
I think if you win like 2 titles with one team and you win like 3 or 4 with like a bunch of teams, 2 is more respectable.
Sure. Anyways, next thing I had on my list, Jayson Tatum did an interview with Taylor Rooks, Bleacher Report. Lots of stuff to pick from there. Is there some place you wanted to start? Was there one thing you wanted to start with?
Yeah, let's start with the injury. What he says.
Yeah,
and he says chipped a bone in his right wrist, and his wrist healed over it, but there's still significant pain there.
Yeah.
Cited that his hand is discolored because the blood flows like messed up. One, I guess you kind of have to buy it because he literally can say, "Hey, look at my hands." But are you concerned that like that's not fixed? Is it fixed? Did he say it was fixed? Do we know? Like,
I assume he'll get it fixed.
he wasn't great in the playoffs after the second round. Really wasn't great.
The Celtics weren't great after the second round.
No, they weren't. I completely agree. They really weren't great throughout the playoffs after the first round. But they made it. They got through the teams. They took years off your life. But if he's playing injured and that's going to be what you get, I sure hope he fixed whatever was wrong or has the time to get it fixed, because it's almost September now. That's something you should have got fixed in July.
I assume he did get it fixed, right? I assume he's.
You have to. You would have to assume that, especially if you're going to talk about it and be like, "Hey, this is my excuse," whether it's true or not. I mean, maybe it's not true. There are people that don't think it's true. Yeah, or everybody has injuries, whatever. It's not on a shitty hand. But that was something we didn't know about.
Let me guess. What was your initial reaction when he said that? Because I think
said, I feel better that he sucked. That's what I said.
Sure. I guess I don't know if this is somewhat of a hot take, but I've said stuff along these lines. Excuse me, my hiccups are brutal. Along these lines, multiple times on this show, and just because it happened to a Celtics player, I'm not going to change my viewpoint. If you are hurt and choose to play, I don't care. Like, you're not hurt, then play. And especially true when saying, if Celtics fans are going to complain when Bucks fans say, "Oh, if Middleton was there, they would have won." Don't say, "Oh, Jayson Tatum was hurt, that's why they didn't win." That's bullshit. I don't care.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that.
I know
you're not saying that, but I'm saying, oh my God, I feel better that he didn't have the yips.
Exactly. I agree.
He's mentally okay. But I am also in the same boat as you, as if you are out there, you should be able to, there's no excuse, because when you're playing, to some extent, the adrenaline will take over.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. You don't feel every ache until you're done.
And I agree with you in the sense that I'm not mad at Tatum, like, because he played poorly. Like, this is sure a fair enough excuse. Like, I'm glad there was some reason why he looked off. But at the same time, all the people saying, like, you can go through series by series. Brooklyn, Ben Simmons wasn't there. And again, don't clap back at me. I'm just saying. Ben Simmons wasn't there.
Simmons Nets could have done better.
Sure.
Because he never played on the team.
I know. I agree. I'm just saying, for every team, this is what, we've seen or you might have heard. Ben Simmons wasn't there. Nets could have won. Chris Middleton wasn't there. Bucks should have won. Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, Kyle Lowry were all playing half strength. The Heat should have won. Whatever. My viewpoint has always been, you can look at any champion over the last 20 years, and there was some sort of quote unquote reason why that championship shouldn't count because there was an injury. Injuries happen every single season. That's how the NBA works. I'll go down the list for you. Sure. Bucks last year. Who'd they go through? James Harden was hurt. The Nets would have beat him, right? Nets would have beat him if Harden was there. 2 years ago, Bam Adebayo, Gordon Dragic were hurt in the finals. They would have lost to the Heat, right?
The whole thing was a sham.
Even Gordon Hayward, he was hurt. Celtics would have won. Sure, there you go. 2019 Raptors, easy. Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant got hurt. They shouldn't have won. Every single season, injuries happen. Yeah. Are you going to avoid every single championship that's ever happened in the history of basketball? That's stupid, right? Injuries happen every year. For Celtics fans to look at Bucks fans and Heat fans and say, you can't use injuries as an excuse, that happens, and then turn around and say, oh, Celtics would have beat the Warriors, Tatum would. Stop it. That's such they
would have beat the Warriors if Tatum didn't suck. He was still out there. It's not like he was in a suit watching.
Yes, it was a ridiculous double standard, though, is my point. You can't have you can't have your cake and eat it too. It's not how it works.
I mean, you mentioned Jimmy Butler. The guy balled out and he was hurt. So
Jimmy Butler was a beast.
There's your prime example right there.
I love Jimmy Butler so much, man.
I like him when he's not playing the Celtics. It's fantastic.
Exactly.
I mean, he has no business being that good.
I'll put it this way. If I had to be a fan of any other team, it'd probably be the Heat, right? If I wasn't a Celtics fan, they're a very easy team to root for. I'll put it that way.
I disagree.
In my
opinion, of pricks. Hero's a prick. Lowry's a prick. I mean, they're right there. Haslam, he's an attention. I mean, look at that whole thing. Who cares? Dude?
I love
You're just gonna sit there and wear the warm-ups for another season.
I respect the hell out of the Heat.
If I was not a Celtics fan, oh man, I don't know which one to say.
Well, actually, I will say I'd be a Blazers fan because Dame's been my favorite player for a long time. So I'd probably be
I'd root for the Pistons, probably. Not because of the team they have out there. I don't know. I couldn't tell you why. I'd
probably go Blazers. And I do respect the Heat. I will say that. Is there a team you would? I mean, I guess it's Celtics bias because of the Lakers. But is there a team you hate outside of your Celtics fandom? Like you just don't like them for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Like not because of any Celtics bias you have.
That's a good question.
I don't really have anybody I can think of. I kind of just like the NBA as a whole. But
yeah, I tend to root against Harden wherever he is. I think he's a prick.
It's a player thing, I guess.
I don't like.
It's hard for you to hate.
This is a good question because I really have answers for you. I just need to really think about it. Man, that is just such a good question.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't like Miami. I think Riley's a prick, but that's probably Celtics based.
Yeah, possible.
But it's funny when they play the Celtics. Like I don't feel like it's a big like it's not a game I get up for personally. I don't get excited to see that.
Outside of it'll be a good game, like outside of the normal. Yeah.
Damn man,
I understand.
That's such a good question. I guess the answer is I really don't have one, but I should. Being me, I should have a team that I just hate.
I think it's harder to root against teams nowadays.
There you go. How did I forget that? The Knicks. Okay, sure. It's absolutely the Knicks. I mean, how did that take me like probably a minute and a half to think of? If you're listening to this, you listen to this show all the time, you're probably like screaming to yourself. And I am so sorry I made you wait 90 seconds for me to complain about these people. I mean, the most entitled set of fans, this is without being a Celtics fan, the most entitled set of fans you will ever see. That if their team has done nothing. Nothing. Shut up.
Like brief transition. Do you think they should make the Donovan Mitchell trade?
It depends what they're giving up. It depends how much they buy into Barrett. I've seen, I don't know. I mean, what do you think of Barrett? How good is he? I value your opinion on that more than mine.
I've seen a lot of split opinions on Barrett, but I think, I mean, I would say I'd compare him to Tyler Hero.
It depends. To me, it depends what else you got to give up. You're just swapping him. I'd take Mitchell. He's proven he's a good player.
Yeah, but Danny Ainge is going to want more.
He should. Good. Milk him dry.
I think if I'm the Knicks, I don't give up Barrett. I think Barrett. I'm not saying he'll ever be as good as Mitchell, but I think he'd be a better fit on that team than Mitchell if he reaches his full potential. Well, I think he can be. I still think RJ Barrett will be an all-star.
If I'm the Knicks, I'm building towards something. You brought in Brunson, you have Barrett already. Yeah, those are two people you're selling.
And if Sam's saying that means they're definitely building towards something.
Well, no. I mean, you have a goal, right? And this is similar to the Durant situation because a lot of teams didn't want to trade for Durant or couldn't get a deal done with the Nets because you're trying to add him to what you already think.
They would have given up too much to bring him in. Yes.
It makes it not worth it. So if you have to gut your team, again, this is the theme of today's episode, it tends not to be worth it.
Yeah.
Very rarely do you see trades in the NBA that are just swaps. Like when the Celtics trade for Kyrie, even though it felt like a swap at the time because Isaiah was a megastar for the Celtics and fans love him, still love him. And he was playing well, top 5 MVP, whatever. It wasn't. They had to give up Crowder, had to give up Zizic, had to give up picks, had to give up the Nets pick that turned out to be Sexton.
Sexton pick, yeah.
It just doesn't happen. Very rarely do you just see a swap like that. So you're going to have to give up Barrett and probably other things that you don't want to give up.
Well, if you're the Knicks, do you do Fournier, Obi Toppin, Emmanuel Quickly, and like 5 firsts? You make that deal?
5 firsts? No.
And keep in mind, they have plenty of firsts. Like when I say first, it's not all their firsts. Like I think currently they have 8 tradable first round picks.
I just don't. If I'm any team, I'm really careful with that.
And some of their picks are like Denver's or Milwaukee's or Detroit's.
No, I get it.
Random teams, yeah.
I get it. But I'm being careful with that. When we talked about the Durant trade to the Celtics weeks ago, that was one thing I kind of got stuck on. I was like, I just can't get over that. If something goes wrong, who knows what it could be, right? Somebody gets upset, gets their feelings hurt, tragedy whatever. You have no safety net. Now, like you said, they have a bunch of picks, so it might not be the case. That's still a lot. And you're giving up players you might like Toppin and Quickly. They probably could care less for Fournier, really. Who cares? It's making
if you're getting Mitchell, then yeah.
I mean, they cared a lot when they signed him. They thought that was the greatest.
Clearly.
Whatever will the Celtics do?
But I think I do it if you don't give up Barrett, and if you do give up Barrett, then you don't do it. But you're also hearing, not to dive too deep down the rabbit hole, that there's these mystery teams involved in the Donovan Mitchell thing, sweepstakes. Danny Ainge saying, "Oh, we have mystery offers we actually kind of like." Like, what, Danny? Are the Celtics one of those offers, Sam? Do you think the Celtics are going to get in on the Mitchell sweepstakes?
Not for what Danny's asking, unless he's like doing the little tip of the cap there, like, "Hey, listen, give me a ring, and we got a deal, right?"
Unless he likes Peyton Pritchard a lot. Danny loves Peyton Pritchard.
Who doesn't love Pritchard, man? Pritchard,
exactly,
good player.
Circling back, Jayson Tatum thing. You also hear a quote of him talking after the finals. He said how he felt after the finals. Said it's tough. It's just tough. Sometimes I feel like I come off so laid back. I don't know if people understand how much I invest into this game, how much I care, how hard I work, because I'm not like the loudest or may show everything. But it was just so tough because I literally gave everything that I had. To feel like I ran out, that I didn't have anything left to give, and we were so close, and I didn't have an appetite. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't go anywhere. I was just in my house for 3 or 4 days straight. I was miserable. And I think that was really all Celtics fans wanted to hear from Tatum for a long time. Like, because he is such a laid back dude. He doesn't really show off a ton of emotion, that it does seem like he doesn't care at times. And I don't think that's the case. I just don't think he like exaggerates things, or, is this emphatic personality. I think he just internalizes it. And I think to hear that from Tatum should be something Celtics fans enjoy hearing, like not almost in a sadistic way. Like, yeah, he recognizes that it sucked, and he's not blasé about it. Like he was upset that they lost, and he's fully invested in the team and winning. And I think it was a good thing for him to say.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to talk or I was going to talk at the beginning. But if I was first, I was literally just going to go, good. Look in the mirror while you're at it. Like, yeah, you were hurt. I mean, you still weren't great. Could have been much better. Yeah, that you nailed on the head. That's what everyone wants to hear. Good. We all felt that as fans. I was miserable. I was miserable watching it. I was miserable when they were getting there. I was miserable the whole time. I didn't enjoy like a lick of that playoff run after the first round because it was so much harder than it had to be. And I hope they think about that too, because even though they got by, they made it very hard on themselves, and they should not have.
They did.
But going back to the finals in particular, I don't know how many times I have to say it. They had the trophy in their hands. Yes. And they shot 7 straight threes, didn't make one, and that was the end of it.
Yep.
So good. Sit and think about it. Don't eat until you start working out again. You need the nutrition. Think about it. Work hard. Get back there. Be motivated. And you're right, and he's right. People don't see emotion from him. People get concerned. This is a fan base that really related to Garnett and relates to Smart, because they're really emotional, outspoken guys that are out there, and you can see how bad they want it. You can see them screaming, and Tatum is, at times looks like he's emotionless, which everybody is different. And
yeah,
for him to say that is good. People like that. So good for him. He's worked hard. I mean, you saw him play on all the amateurs there in Seattle. Woo! He scored a bunch of points against guys that aren't in the NBA. Woo! Cares. I can't get over that. And we talked briefly about this before we went on. Dude, if I see another Pro-Am video again with these guys playing against guys that aren't in the NBA, and like people being like, "Oh my God, look at this!" Like, I get it if they're doing something crazy, like when it was like Trae Young and Collins and Murray like throwing triple alley-oops.
Pritchard dropped 92.
Pritchard, yeah, like that's what you should be doing. You're in the NBA. These guys aren't in the NBA, and even the small, like the difference of guys that are playing D1 college and the NBA is massive.
Sure,
massive. I mean, it's worlds different. Congratulations, you're playing against a bunch of guys that aren't in the NBA. If I went down to the elementary school, which does not sound like a good start to a story, and played against 5 fifth graders, I would dominate too.
Not the same thing, and it's not the
similar.
Same thing. Not similar.
You're a
at
professional basketball player at the highest level.
They're also professional basketball players.
All I don't care. All of these tapes that you're seeing is exactly what should happen. That's like if you write a news story and you say, fireman puts out fire. Like, wow, like they were supposed to do that. Big story. There's your page 1.
Well, I agree to an extent. Like, it's not like Tatum's gonna be, 4-time champion, 90, like win ton of MVPs because
Sure
he did
would
this.
like
No, but it's fun to see, right? It's cool. Like in an offseason lackluster of news, seeing him, cook these or not even semi-pro, these like borderline NBA players who are playing overseas or D1 college, blah, blah, blah. And there were NBA players in there too. It's not like he wasn't playing, with and against other NBA players, but
He was playing with them. They stacked
Sure.
the hell out of their team.
The point is,
which I
care.
also
It's
don't
fun to
understand.
see.
How is that allowed?
'Cause it's funny.
How are you allowed to have all these NBA players on the same team? Then you got like me and the boys on the other side in our uniforms. Like, how is that allowed?
Entertainment purposes.
It's just Jack and I standing there like trying to guard Tatum. Like,
Hey,
no
why
offense
not?
to these guys that are actually out there. Obviously, they are esteemed basketball players. You don't just show up to these things. But at the end of the day, the credit should be to those guys, not to Tatum. Like, I really don't care. Congrats. Like, you scored on a bunch of guys that aren't in the NBA. Woo! Now, if that guy blocks Tatum, then he should get a nice pat on the back. Because you know what? He's not in the NBA. And he went above and beyond.
It is what it is. It's fun to see him working out. Fun to, nice to see him getting the work in. Blah, blah,
it's nice. He's making jump shots again. You forget sometimes.
Yep. Last quote I think I pulled from here. Tatum talking about, excuse me, Jesus, the KD thing. About the picture of him working out with KD. He said, they exaggerate everything I do. I've known KD since I was in high school. We were on Team USA together. We spent 5 weeks together last year from Vegas to Tokyo where we won a gold medal. We have a bond. That's my brother. I'm not too proud to admit that KD is one of the best. And I'm not too proud to admit that KD is one of the best players. So if one of the best players wants to work out with you and I could learn a few things, why would I say no? If you worry about what other people think and are going to say, you'll drive yourself crazy. And it's crazy that I can't work out with somebody. And I agree. I've said this a million times. Who cares? Right? Like it means absolutely nothing. They are in the NBA. They share that bond. They are friends. They are professional basketball players. They're allowed to work out together. It means nothing more than that. And it doesn't have to mean anything more than that. It's foolish to get mad at Tatum for working out with Kevin Durant in a gym in Los Angeles. That's stupid.
I completely agree with you. And we kind of talked about this with Timmy G. One, I completely agree with what Tatum said too. Like, okay, people want Tatum to be Durant, so let him work out with Durant. However, I get less thrilled when I see him with Kyrie or LeBron. Like, those are the guys I don't like. Like, I don't want to see you with those guys.
That's a personal bias.
Well, Kyrie is a more valid one than LeBron. I don't like LeBron, so I don't like seeing them play together. But I mean, listen, I don't want any of these guys around Kyrie. That's kind of concerning, especially the way things happen. I mean, I get it, friends, whatever. But seriously, who cares if he's playing with KD? He's training with him.
Exactly.
Now,
yeah.
I do get the read the room aspect of it. Like, no. I'm not saying those people are right, but I do understand this larger situation is Jaylen Brown's in trade rumors for Durant, which is not a slight in any way, by the way. If you're being traded for Durant, that's a nice pat on the back there. But people get protective. I get it. But at the end of the day, dude, who cares?
I'll put it this way. I tweeted something about this and someone responded to me, it is whatever, but like, I mean, the timing of it looks terrible. And my immediate thought process was, you think Jayson Tatum got a call from KD or got the opportunity and said, actually, there are these rumors that were probably leaked by the Nets. I probably shouldn't work out with my friend here. That's stupid. Like, and it goes back to the part that none of this is coming from the Celtics side of things. Brad Stevens said that. And even if it was coming from the Celtics side of things, who cares, right? Like, Tatum is working out with his friend that he's known for however many years he said. He's not going to look at rumors. And he said it in the quote, if you let, the thought process or let other people's opinions bother you, you'll drive yourself crazy. He's not going to scour the rumor mill every time he wants to work out for somebody. Hell,
scour the rumor mill. No. That's headline. You don't even have to pick up your damn phone.
I don't care. I still don't care.
All you have to do is like accidentally walk down the street by like an electronics
He's addressed
shop
it before. He's addressed the rumors before. I still don't care.
There is no issue with Tatum working out with Durant.
Yes.
And to be honest, I'd rather see Tatum play one-on-one with Durant than watch him play against, me and the boys at the Pro-Am.
True.
See, if he's scoring on Durant every time, then you got something to talk about.
Now, I'll ask you this as well. This is off topic, but it's the same interview. Did you see the viral piece that Taylor Rooks said Damian Lillard isn't a superstar? That, broke Twitter?
Yeah, I was talking to a buddy about that because there are people that'll tell you if you plug Dame into the Warriors, he'd be Steph Curry. He'd be just as good as Curry. And I don't know if I agree with that or not, but it's something that floats around out there, and people will tell you that. I don't know how much weight I put into that.
Is he a superstar?
Yeah.
I think absolutely.
Yeah,
I think absolutely.
I think he is. I think he's had enough success without making he's probably had as much success you can have without making the finals.
And
they played the Warriors in their way for years.
Yeah.
And they made the conference finals.
Yeah. I'll also say this. People going on Twitter saying, we throw around the word superstar too much. Shut up. Stop acting like you're this all-knowing, basketball god. We need to really define what this word means. It's a word. Who gives a shit? Damian Lillard, Damian Lillard is a superstar. And it's all opinion-based, too. Putting labels on things will always be opinion-based, which is why you can't, take things so seriously. Right? LeBron's a superstar. Dame's a superstar. I don't think Jaylen Brown's a superstar yet. I think he's an all-star. I think he could be a superstar. Jayson Tatum's a superstar. And it's who cares about that?
It's hey, is this guy good or no? That's it.
Right.
I don't really care what you call him.
It also doesn't matter that much.
Is he better than this guy? That's the question. I don't really care who's a superstar.
I think
you're right. It doesn't matter. Who
I
cares?
think a part of the quote that Taylor Rooks said though was when she was like, I think he needs to do a little bit more to earn that superstar status. He needs to win a championship. He needs to do this. It's what do you want him to do, Taylor? What do you expect him to do? It's like you said, he's had the Warriors in his way for years, and they just gutted the team.
He's not Zach LaVine.
Yeah, right. Oh God, no. But the point is, to be a superstar,
start calling Zach LaVine a superstar. That's where you start getting into trouble.
And again, I don't think the word matters, but to say that you can't call somebody a superstar because of things that are largely out of their control, that's where it gets a bit hey, what do you expect them to do? Come on, let's chill out. But like I said, who cares? Who gives a shit?
He's had a fair enough of success. He's had a fair amount. I mean, they have done a good amount. They've made conference finals.
He won an MVP. You forgot he won the bubble MVP, Sam. You forgot they handed out awards for.
That doesn't count.
I know. I'm just fucking with you. He did win bubble MVP though.
No idea what you're talking about.
No. Yep, he won bubble MVP. Beast.
Did they even make the playoffs in the bubble?
Yeah, they got beat by the Lakers in the first round.
No, exceptional.
But yeah. Let me check my notes. I don't think there was much else I had for us to talk about today. Isaiah Thomas tweeted out after the KD thing ended. He was like, what exactly did he say?
He said we can all sign now.
Something along those lines. Yeah. Finally, LOL. Can we sign now?
I am interested to see where some of these guys end up.
Right.
He's not wrong. There is a
yes.
pool of players that haven't signed yet and probably had something to do with this.
Mm-hmm. Do you think he's going to sign somewhere then? Do you think he'll end up on a team?
I'd love to see him end up on the end of the Celtics bench. I'll stick with that. Dude, there's truly no negative to that if he's just sitting there.
There absolutely is.
What does it matter?
I want every player on the Celtics roster to be able to play minutes in the Celtics scheme, and he can't.
Dude, put him in there. I don't care. Put him in there.
No, we ran into this last year. The same thing happened last year, Sam.
He deserves it. He deserves it.
I know.
He has been the sacrificial lamb. He deserves it.
Let me get it off my chest though, because we started the show talking about how they didn't have any depth because after Grant Williams, Peyton Pritchard in the rotation, you couldn't.
Dude, who are they putting in there? Who are they putting in that spot? That's the point I'm making. Now, if you have the opportunity to add somebody that's really going to be a key depth piece, or
any of these training camp guys, I would take over Isaiah Thomas. Any of these guys on the training camp.
I understand the thought process of their project. They can get better. They can improve. Look at Miami. Look what they've done with some of those type guys. I get it. But
Noah Vonleh, Justin Jackson, Broderick Thomas.
You don't need all three.
Justice Winslow. I'd take all of
two
them
out
over
of three
Isaiah
isn't
Thomas.
bad.
Not because I dislike Isaiah Thomas, but because all of them would have an opportunity and would probably be better in the Celtics' current scheme of defense first than Isaiah Thomas, who can't defend anything, by the way. Like, let's not forget that. Like,
No,
even
I
at his
mean,
peak,
I'm
he was
not saying
terrible.
he's I'm saying he's sitting there and clapping, and he's playing when they're up 30.
Sure. I mean, I'm not going to complain if they do it because it'd be fun, but I don't like. I'm not like
I'm
saying
all
they
about
need
the
to do
fun.
it. It's like, sure.
At the end of the day,
fuck it.
you have 3 roster spots for probably 3 places. Probably one of them, if Vonleh is signed, and he's the big off the bench. It's going to be nice. Which I don't think they should sign Isaiah Thomas over Vonleh. But I think, like, I don't know. I don't care. Like, if it's somebody that's going to sit there, I'd rather it be Isaiah.
Sure. I mean, it'll be fun. I don't care. I just don't. I'm not as adamant about it as.
Well, you were saying no at the beginning of this. So I did a little work. I pounded the rock. Look at that.
I don't think they should do it, but I'm not gonna. It's like the KD thing. I don't think they should do it, but if they do it, I'm not gonna sit here and bitch.
I don't think there's any negative to it. I just don't. I understand. I do understand where you could say it's going to be a distraction. Now, if you were saying that, I would say, okay,
sure.
I get it.
Could also be a distraction.
I get it. But if you're just saying, like, I'd rather have Broderick Thomas, who I don't know how old he is, but
and
like,
I'll also say, it's not like Isaiah Thomas. Like, I saw something along the lines of he already has an intimate knowledge of this team. Like, he's friends. He knows like what 3 people on the team.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I
know, but I've seen that out there. Like, he knows 3 people on this team. This isn't anywhere close to the same team he played with years ago, right? Like, he knows Jaylen for like
let
1
him
year.
sit there.
Smart and Horford. That's it.
You have the guard, and the fans are rooting for a blowout every game, so you can get in there.
Sure, it's like it's the equivalent of Taco,
except he's not tall.
It's Taco. It's the same thing.
It's
short
the
exact Taco. Same thing. And I'm not saying, like, for the right team, I think Isaiah could still make an impact in the NBA. I think he's a fine backup point guard. But not
at the end of the day, that's really what should matter. If he wants to go somewhere where he can be impactful and he can play, then that should be the case. However, you really haven't seen teams give him that opportunity. Now, Charlotte did. I think there was a report that they were interested in bringing him back. You'll know this better than me.
Yeah. Him and Kemba were rumored.
I think I think if I'm Charlotte, you should bring Kemba back over him. For the same reason the Celtics should bring back Isaiah.
And I think the only reason they haven't brought Kemba back yet is because he's still on the Detroit roster. They haven't waived him yet.
Okay. Well, they need to do that.
Yeah.
That'll be another Sam gives out a nice pat on the back.
I think that's all I got. Anything else you want to talk about before we get out of here?
Hey, we just did a show and I didn't have a single internet problem.
Wow, don't jinx it. You could cut out in the last final seconds.
Well, we had to replace one of our things because it was garbage. So who knows? Who knows what we're doing here? I really don't have anything else. I don't know. All right. It's almost September. We're getting close. Training camp, right? Jack and I are both going to do the open tryout where we're going to make content for you guys, and we're going to go.
We'll get there.
I like that they call it an open tryout, but I don't think it actually is.
What do you mean?
Like, I think it's like you have to be invited. No,
I don't think they ever called it an open tryout. I think they called it like a competition, a training camp competition.
Okay,
that's what they
see. There was times where we were calling it that.
I might have called it that. That's not exactly what I meant.
They should have that. Tryout. Maybe they should really just have some guy off the street on the team.
I mean, Matt Ryan was delivered DoorDash. I'm mad they're not bringing him back either.
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing because he played real well in the summer league when he was.
I think he's looking for a bigger role elsewhere.
Well, good for him. Garrison. Let him go somewhere.
Garrison Matthews-esque,
and then he can go somewhere, and then everyone can get real mad, and they can say, "Oh, they let another one walk." Shut up. Go watch the Patriots lose.
Yep, exactly. But we did almost an hour out of Kevin Durant being over.
We just did an hour in August, so there you go. What do you want out of us?
Elite content. Anyways, thank you guys for listening. We appreciate it. We'll be back next week, and I'll let Sam wrap it up. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, you're on YouTube, watching on From the Rafters now, I believe is the name of the page.
Rebranded, yes.
And or Guy Boston. Now, make sure you share, like, and subscribe. I don't know if From the Rafters has hit 100 yet. It was at 97 the last time I checked.
I'm going to check right now. 98.
98. Look at that.
Go away. If you're listening to this right now, go to the YouTube, From the Rafters podcast on YouTube. Get us to 100. 2 subscribers. We need 2. Come on.
And like the video. What else are you doing?
I've been
You
putting in
need the
some nice
exercise.
thumbnails lately. I've been creating some, like new and improved thumbnails, putting in the effort a little bit. Come on. Throw us a bone.
If you're on Guy Boston, you can start gearing up, getting warmed up for our pre-games. They'll be back in, I don't know, we'll probably do preseason pregame. We're so bored, we'll do whatever, right? And, if you're listening, you're on Spotify or Apple, or maybe you found somewhere else to get us. Cool, man. Make sure you follow. That way you can get the pods if Jack doesn't tweet them. If he does tweet them, they'll be coming from Rafters Pod on Twitter. And if you want all of Jack's masterclass works on heavy, you can follow him at Jack Simone NBA, and you can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA if you want me to complain, or I don't know, probably just complain. I tweeted a couple times yesterday, right? What did I tweet about? Durant?
Yeah, Durant was one thing.
Yeah, whatever. That's our show for today. Bye.